Imagine you are living in your car. It's cramped, it smells like old takeout, and you are constantly looking over your shoulder. You have a secret, a dark past that makes getting a normal job impossible. You are desperate for a way out. Then, you find it. The golden ticket. A job offer to be a live-in housemaid for a wealthy, perfect family in a stunning home. It seems like the answer to your prayers. But imagine walking into your new room for the first time. It's a tiny attic space. It's freezing. And when you go to shut the door, you notice something strange. Something terrifying. The lock isn't on the inside to keep you safe. The lock is on the outside, to keep you in. Welcome to the Winchester house. Hey readers! Busy life making it hard to finish books? I've got you covered. Before we start, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Let's dive into books in minutes. Today, we are unpacking the psychological thriller sensation, The Housemaid, by Freida McFadden. If you are a fan of Gone Girl or The Girl on the Train, this book was written exactly for you. Freida McFadden is a master of the domestic thriller, a genre that takes the safety of a family home and turns it into a nightmare. This story explores the terrifying gap between perception and reality. It asks the question, do we ever really know what goes on behind closed doors? It's a story about power, gaslighting, and the extreme lengths people will go to for survival. Let's step inside. Part 1, The Perfect Job? Our story begins with Millie Calloway. Millie is effectively homeless, living out of her car, and desperate for employment. She has a criminal record, a violent one, which makes landing a job nearly impossible. She interviews for a housekeeping position with Nina Winchester. Nina seems to be the picture of wealth, a massive house, a handsome husband named Andrew, and a young daughter named Cecilia. Surprisingly, Nina hires Millie on the spot, ignoring the gaps in her resume. Millie moves in, relieved to have a roof over her head. But the relief is short-lived. Her room is in the attic. It's claustrophobic and, as I mentioned earlier, the lock is on the outside. But Millie convinces herself it's just a quirk of an old house. She begins her work, but Nina Winchester turns out to be a nightmare boss. Nina is incredibly messy, leaving chaos in every room. She is erratic, one minute she's friendly, the next she is screaming at Millie for mistakes Millie didn't make. She accuses Millie of stealing clothes and messing up laundry. It feels like Nina is trying to drive her crazy. Then there is Andrew, the husband. He is the complete opposite of Nina. He is calm, kind, and incredibly handsome. He apologizes for Nina's behavior, hinting that she has mental health struggles and has been difficult for a long time. Millie starts to feel sorry for him. How can such a nice man live with such a monster? As weeks pass, the tension rises. Nina's behavior gets more bizarre. She deliberately makes messes for Millie to clean. She badmouths Millie to their daughter, Cecilia, who treats Millie with disrespect. Meanwhile, Millie and Andrew grow closer. Andrew confides in Millie, telling her that Nina is unstable and that he feels trapped in the marriage. Millie, who is lonely and attracted to Andrew, begins to fall for him. Nina warns Millie. She tells her, "You don't know what he's really like." But because Nina acts so crazy, Millie dismisses the warning. She thinks Nina is just jealous and paranoid. Things come to a head when Andrew tells Millie that he suspects Nina might be dangerous, that she might hurt him. Millie feels she has to protect this man. They start a secret affair. Andrew tells Millie he wants to leave Nina, but he's afraid she will ruin him or take his daughter away. The atmosphere in the house becomes suffocating. Millie decides she isn't going to be the victim here. Remember, Millie has a dark past. She isn't just a helpless girl, she's a fighter. The first part of the book ends with a shocking escalation. Andrew and Millie decide they want to be together. The implication is that Nina has to go. It seems like the classic story of the husband, the mistress, and the crazy wife. But then, we turn the page to part 2. Part 2, The Lady of the House. Here is where everything flips. We are now in Nina's point of view. We learn immediately that Nina is not crazy.
She is a prisoner. Andrew Winchester is not the victim, he is a sociopath. For years, he has subjected Nina to horrific physical and psychological abuse. That attic room? That was Nina's punishment cell. The lock on the outside was used to lock her in when she misbehaved. Nina reveals the truth about her life. Andrew controls everything she does. He forces her to act erratically in public so that if she ever tries to tell the police about the abuse, no one will believe her. He has gaslighted the entire world into thinking she is the unstable one. Those messes Millie had to clean up? Andrew often made them to punish Nina or to create friction between the women. And here is the biggest twist, Nina hired Millie on purpose. Nina researched Millie. She found out about Millie's criminal record. She knows that Millie went to prison for nearly killing a man who abused her friend. Nina saw Millie not as a servant, but as a weapon. Nina knew she couldn't kill Andrew herself, she is too weak and monitored. But she figured if she brought a volatile, tough woman like Millie into the house, and if she pushed Millie into Andrew's arms, Andrew would eventually try to discard Nina to be with Millie. And when Andrew reveals his true, violent nature to Millie, Nina is betting that Millie will fight back. Nina's craziness was a performance. She was pushing Millie toward Andrew to set a trap. She needed Andrew to cheat. She needed Andrew to slip up.
Part 3, The Trap Closes. We return to the present. Andrew has kicked out Nina, presumably to commit her to an institution, leaving Millie and Andrew alone in the house. Millie thinks she has won. But the moment Nina is gone, Andrew's mask falls off. He turns on Millie. He tells her she is now the lady of the house, and that means she follows his rules. He drags her to the attic and locks her in. He begins the same cycle of torture and abuse he used on Nina. He thinks he has swapped a broken toy for a fresh one. But Andrew made a fatal mistake. He underestimated Millie. Millie realizes Nina was right all along. But Millie isn't like Nina. She has been in prison, she knows how to survive violence. Nina hasn't actually left. She is watching, waiting for the moment to intervene. The climax is brutal. Andrew goes to the attic to punish Millie, but Millie is ready. She fights back with a ferocity Andrew didn't expect. During the struggle, the power dynamic shifts completely. Nina returns to the house. The two women, the wife and the mistress, stand united against the monster. They don't just escape him, they end him. Andrew ends up dead. But the story doesn't end with handcuffs. These women are smart. They stage the scene perfectly. Because Andrew had spent years painting Nina as crazy and because Millie has a record, they know the police will be suspicious. However, they use Andrew's own gaslighting against him. They manipulate the evidence to make it look like Andrew's cruelty simply went too far, or that it was an accident during a domestic dispute where he was the aggressor. There is a mutual understanding, a pact of silence between Nina and Millie. They saved each other. In the end, they get away with it. Nina gets her life back, along with her daughter. Millie drives off, free once again. But there is one final, chilling note. As Millie moves on to a new town, she sees a woman being berated by an aggressive husband in public. Millie watches them, and she decides to apply for a job as their housemaid. The predator has become the vigilante. Key takeaways. So, what can we learn from this twisted tale? First, the danger of the perfect family. The book reminds us that social media and public appearances are often a mask. Andrew was the perfect neighbor and husband to the outside world, but a monster in private. It teaches us to look deeper than the surface. Second, the horror of gaslighting. This is a textbook example of how abusers isolate their victims. Andrew didn't just hurt Nina. He made her question her own sanity and made the world question her credibility. It highlights how terrifyingly effective psychological manipulation can be. And finally, the unexpected strength of solidarity. The story subverts the trope of women fighting over a man. Instead of tearing each other apart, the wife and the mistress realize the man is the problem. It's a dark, twisted version of women supporting women. Who is this book for? If you love plot twists that make you physically gasp, or if you enjoy stories where the underdog bites back, The Housemaid is a must-read. So what do you think about this book? Did its ideas resonate with you, or challenge the way you see things? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you took away from it. And if there's a book you'd like me to cover next, drop that below as well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.